What's going on, good people? It's your boy Iceberg here with another video for you. I know you may be looking like, whoa, what's going on? I've never seen Iceberg in a video like this before. Well, just ride with me. Give me a few minutes of your time. Hopefully, you'll enjoy what I'm doing here. For most of you who've just started following me over the last couple weeks, let's say last month or so, and see me putting out garden videos, what you may not know is I actually started making videos on YouTube probably about 4 months ago. I was doing little live streams, not getting very many viewers, and it took a ton of time to create them the way that I was doing it. So since I wasn't getting any, real feedback or anything with that, I kind of let that go, and then, figured out another way for me to try to make some videos. So that's why I got into the garden videos, and I'm enjoying making the garden videos. They take so much less time for me to make because most of the time I'm just pressing record and going off the dome, talking to y'all about whatever is on my mind about the garden, or if I can tie it to some real life subjects. So that's what I've been doing with the garden videos. But I'm going to try to tap back into what I did whenever I was doing my live streams a little bit on this video. I'm not doing it as a live stream, but I'm going to do it as a video and use StreamYard. That's what I'm using, StreamYard, for this. So if you see me looking back and forth, it's because I'm using multiple screens. But I'm going to do it in this fashion. Let me know what y'all think about it, please. Get in the comments or, reach out to me. I'll be putting my information up throughout the stream, so you'll have all of my information to be able to reach out to me. But let me know what y'all think. I need feedback. I need to know what I'm doing right, what you like, what you want to see change. If there's topics that you want to hear about, especially on the garden and stuff, please let me know. Reach out to me. I would love to research or talk about the topics that you are interested in. If you want me to do live streams, that's an option as well. Like I said, I have StreamYard, so I can run live streams if there's a demand for that. But let me know what y'all think. I'm testing this out again. I'm going to do it in a totally different fashion than y'all have seen on most of my videos. So let me know what you think. What I want to do is I want to talk about plant hardiness zones. They're determined by the United States Department of Agriculture, and they're what, gardeners and farmers and a lot of other people use to determine how to grow things, where things will be able to grow and actually thrive with their growing, as opposed to being killed by just natural climate issues, let's say. So just ride with me for a little bit. Hopefully you'll learn something. If you have any questions, I'll be providing information for you to be able to look this stuff up yourself. But if you want to reach out to me with questions, if you think I may know the answer, I am more than happy to talk to you. I'll respond to the comments. I'll respond to emails, whatever it is, however you feel comfortable reaching out. Just let me know. So what I want to do, I've made some overlays to kind of help explain, give a little bit of visual to go with what I have going on, and I also will be showing a little bit of a website so you can follow along. I'm just going to take you through how you can figure out what your plant hardiness zone is and what does all of that stuff really mean. So let's get into it. So whenever I was growing up, I'm 43 years old, so whenever I was growing up, and we were learning about how to read stories, how to write stories, things of that nature, we were always taught to consider certain aspects, certain things, right? Or ask certain questions to be able to formulate what's going on, right? So the questions that we were taught whenever I was growing up to ask are the who, the what, the when, the why, the where, and the how. Those were the questions that I was taught to ask whenever we were learning about how to read stories. They would make us identify those things. And then whenever they had us start writing, they wanted us to make sure that we were identifying those things in our writing. So that's what I'm going to cover here in reference to United States Department of Agriculture plant hardiness zones. So the who. Let's go with the WHO, right? WHO is the United States Department of Agriculture. So the United States Department of Agriculture is a government organization. What did it? I wrote it down. They provide the guidelines and resources for food, agriculture, natural resources, rural development, nutrition, and related issues based on public policy. So basically, they create a lot of the public policy, which is a fancy word for kind of laws or regulations on how food and agriculture, things like that, are maintained, grown. So the restrictions, let's say, on cattle place or a chicken house, let's say, whenever you've heard of issues with some of the chicken farms having issues, the USDA is one of the entities that would come in and kind of do investigations of that stuff. They provide grants as well for farmers because, believe it or not, farmers get a lot of help from the government because the government wants people here to work this land here and have our fertile land here in America make money. So the USDA is a place to go if you're looking to start a farm. They have access to grants and things like that. They can actually help you learn some of the tax breaks that you get as having a official farm. I mean, it's a process. They probably run you through the ringer, but once you get qualified for that stuff, like they're saying Rick Ross with the cow and stuff, once you get qualified as a farmer, there's a ton of tax breaks that come with that. So the United States Department of Agriculture, they're the ones who are providing the plant hardiness zone scales for us. So we got the WHO. That's the WHO that is providing it for us. Now we're going on to the what, right? What is plant hardiness zones? Just simply, what are the plant hardiness zones? So my definition of the plant hardiness zones is basically it's the climate zones, and they're identified by numbers, and then they actually go further to break it down by number and letter combination. So for example, my number letter combination where I live is 7B as in boy, 7B. So it's a number letter combination, and it's based on the average temperatures for that area, the average low temperatures for that area. They break them down so in 10-degree increments. So for example, the 7, and I'll show it here in a second, is a 10-degree increment. The 8 would be the next 10-degree increment. The 9 would be the next 10-degree increment. I'll show it here in a second though. And then they have the 5-degree subsections as well. So what is the plant hardiness zone scale? Here's an example of what it looks like. And that 1976 to 2005, we'll cover what that means here in a second. But you see, it's the average annual extreme minimum temperature. It doesn't mean it's the coldest temperature necessarily. It's the average minimum temperature for the areas. So as I said, 7 for me is the zone that I fall into. So you see that says 0 to 10 degrees Fahrenheit. If you're Celsius, it's negative 17.8 to negative 12.2. So here in a little bit, I'll show you how you can find what your hardiness zone is and why that's going to be important to you. But right now, we're still talking about the what. What is the plant hardiness zone? What is the plant hardiness zone? And here is an isolated view of what zone 7 of the United States looks like. So all of that green area is zone 7. That means all of those areas have the same average low temperature throughout I'm not gonna say throughout the year, but at its lowest point, and it can range, month to month, of course. But the average lows for those areas range about the same 10-degree scale. So, like I said, here in a few minutes, we'll be getting into how you can figure out what yours is and what that actually means to you. So we got the who, we got the what. Now let's go on to the when. And what we're answering here for when, and I'm rusty. I should have been putting up my questions. So the who, that was who provided the information. That was the first question. The answer to that was the USDA. Let me get my stuff right. The who provides the information? That's the USDA, United States Department of Agriculture. We're going to the what. What is a plant hardiness zone? That's what I just was answering for you, where my plant hardiness zone is 7B. 7B as in boy. We'll figure out what your plant hardiness zone here is here in a minute. But the plant hardiness zone is that average low temperature for the area. And it's broken up in 10-degree increments. Going on to the next question. When was the data last updated? So what I found on the United States Department of Agriculture website is that the data was last updated in 2012. And this is done over a 30-year cycle. So the next question, when was the data gathered? The data was gathered from 1976 to 2005. So the data that was reported on the 2012 map, the 2012 map that we're going to be going here and looking at in a minute, that data was gathered from 1976 until 2005. So you see, it's been a little bit of gap in time since the data has been updated, but they gathered the data in 30-year samples is what they're saying on the website. So that's the when. We're going to our next question. I'm gonna go with the why. And our first question is, why are hardiness zones important? So the reason the hardiness zones are important is because you need to identify, is to help you identify the average cold temperature for your area, because frost is something that you have to be concerned with in most areas of the United States, because frost often will kill your plants if you don't have them covered and protected from the frost. Now, as you get into some of the higher zones, 7+, sometimes heat can become an issue that you have to deal with, because while your low temperatures aren't an issue for you, your high temperatures may be an issue for you. So places that the low temperature only gets down to, let's say, 60 degrees or 70 degrees, the high temperature that day may be 110 degrees. And if you don't protect your plants from 110 degrees sun consecutive days, it's probably going to kill your plants. So this is to help people identify what different types of plants they can sustain that zone where they are. So it's the hardiness of the plant. The hardiness of the plant is the strength of the plant, its ability to sustain the conditions and the weather and that type of stuff. So it's the plant's ability to sustain the coldness of the weather in most cases for the United States. So we'll move on to our next question. Where? And for where, the question I'm answering is, where do you find your hardiness zone? So I can show you that website that I have scrolling across the bottom there, planthardiness.ars.usda.gov. That's the website. It's a government website. So that's the website you go to. It's free for you to go to. You can actually print out the maps from there for free. As long as you follow the criteria, which is all right there on the website, but you can get free maps from there that shows your hardiness zone or whatever you need to know for presentations purposes. So, okay. So that's where you find it. planthardiness.ars.usda.gov. That's where you find your plant hardiness zone, and we'll be going there here in a minute. A couple more questions. I'm rusty working StreamYard, y'all. Going on to the how. And I have question for Hal. I have a couple questions for Hal, actually. First question for Hal is, how's the information collected? And the information is collected through two organizations. First is ARS, which is Agricultural Research Service. It's a part of the United States Department of Agriculture. So it's a part of USDA. It's a branch of it. And Agricultural Research Service does the collecting of the data. And they work on the 2012 maps that we have access to in collaboration with Oregon State University. So whenever you go on the website, as I was saying, you can print off the maps. If you want to print off the maps, you'll see on every one of the maps it has both of these logos, the ARS logo and the OSU logo. And one of the criteria for printing the maps for free is that you have to make sure that it does include that logo. So if you're going to represent the map in a presentation or something, it must include those logos in order for you to maintain like your free copyright and laws with it. So just something to keep in mind. But that's who's providing the data. And on the website, it actually shows you how they go about building the maps and everything. And like I said, we're about to go look at all of that right here in a second, because the next question for our why is, how do you navigate the website? I mean, for our how, not our why, but for our how is, how do you navigate the website? So that's what we're going to do now. I'm going to share my screen and we'll go to the website and see how you get around it. It's not going to take very long at all. So I already got it pulled up. There's the website. Whenever you go to that website that I had scrolling across the bottom, and I'll put it back down there for you again. There you go. planthardiness.ars.usda.gov. This is the website that we're at right now. So this is, again, a government website. We all have access to it. It's free for us to use. So go there and you can follow along with this video. You can pause it whenever you need to, whatever you need to do. But if you go there, this is where it's going to bring you to. And as you see on the side over there on the right, it has the legend for the plant hardiness zones. And as I was saying, how they have the 5 degree increments as well as the 10 degree increments. You see there, they have 1A, 1B, 2A, 2B, etc. So that's the 5 degree breakdowns. But 1, you see it's a 10 degree breakdown. So 1 goes from negative 60 degrees to negative 50 degrees. If I come down to 7, where I am, it goes from 0 degrees to 10 degrees. Now I'm in 7B, so it actually goes in my area from 5 degrees to 10 degrees. And so I'm gonna show you how to find your area. If you're on the website, this map here on the home page is interactive. So as you move your mouse on the map, you can just click whatever state you're in. So for example, I'm in North Carolina. I click North Carolina and it pops up a little pop-up like that. If I click on this North Carolina plant hardiness zone, it's going to open up another window, which I have to share that window with you now. Give me 1 second. All right. All right. I used to be good at working this. All right, there we go. All right, so that's the North Carolina map that pops up, right? So you see there's different colors in here. We probably have 3 or 4. Yeah, it's probably 4 different colors, because I think over here to the far west, over here on the mountainside, that looks like it may be 6B. Yeah, it looks like that may be 6B there. And then up here, it looks like you may have a little bit of 7A. And then most of the state here, all of this kind of yellowish green, more so than the darker greens over here. This yellowish green is that's 7B. So all of this area here from a little bit east of Asheville, coming all the way down. It captures Charlotte. It goes all the way east to, looks like a little bit east of Raleigh. Coming up, what is that, Roanoke? And then it comes up, to the northern part of the state. So it captures this whole large area and gets Greensboro and all of that in that area too. So most of the middle of the state, the Piedmont area that we, consider, is where the 7B is. And then down here on the bottom part of the state, we have, what is that, 8A. So it's a little bit warmer, of course, down in the Fayetteville, Wilmington area. Going out to the coast, it's a little bit warmer temperatures for their lows. And coming west, closer to the mountains, of course, the lower temperatures are lower than they are farther east. So easy right there. That's the easy interactive way to use the USDA's hardiness zone map. Let me go back to it. All right. So back on our map, it still has North Carolina pulled up. I can just get rid of that. And you can drag this map, just click and drag it however you need to. You can use your zoom features, whether you have it on your mouse or, keyboard or whatever, to zoom in and out on the map, So if you want to get more specific and detailed where you're clicking, you have those options. Let's click on, say, Georgia. I know a lot of people are in the Atlanta area. So let's click on Georgia's. Let's see what theirs looks like. All right, so for Georgia, that's what you got. So you see pretty much all of Georgia looks like to be 8. Well, actually, there's 2 different colors there. So down here you have 9A down in South Georgia. So down in Brunswick, Valdosta, Albany, down in that area, Savannah, all of that stuff is 9A. Coming up, you get Macon, Augusta, Atlanta, all of that stuff is in 8B. Looks like, or actually that may be 8A for Atlanta and all that, and 8B for, that's what it looks like. Okay, so Atlanta, Athens, Augusta, Macon, all of that stuff looks like it's 8A. Albany, Valdosta, and maybe Savannah look like they're 8B, and actually Brunswick looks like it's 9A, because Brunswick is almost Florida, as you can see. So Brunswick is, that higher low temperature. They say the lows for Brunswick average 20 to 25 degrees. So, and then you see northern Georgia, it has the green, similar to North Carolina, your 7As, your 7Bs, because this is close to the mountains of North Carolina. So it's going to be the same climate. But that's the easy way for you to go find out what your hardiness zone is. Now, you can also just go on there and type in your zip code, and it'll tell you as well. But when I did it the zip code way, let's see if I can figure that out again. You can just type it in right there. You can type in your address. I'm not sharing my screen. Oops. There we go. Right there at the top, find address or place. You can just type in your address and it'll tell you what your zone is for your address. Just like that. So that's really all you need to do, and you'll be able to tell what your hardiness zone is. Now, let's see here. You've seen the difference between the A's and the B's. That's just the 5-degree increment within that 10-degree zone. So you have your 7A, your 7B, et cetera, et cetera. Let's look at another part of the site really quickly, because you may find it of importance. All right, so wrong part. All right, so if you scroll down on the website, there's more information. A lot of the information that I've given you is this information down here. It's a GIS based map. So if you don't know what GIS is, it's a geographic information system. That's what a lot of the government maps are based on. If you go to any of the government databases, looking up property records or whatever, most of those maps are going to be GIS based. programs. The about section, that's a pretty good section on here. A lot of good information in there about how they came up with this information, what's different from the previous program was this new one is 2012. The previous one, I believe, was like 2000 or 1990. So it just gives you a bunch of information of how they came up with all of this. A lot of information that I've just covered with you, they cover it down in these about sections. So it's a decent read if you need to know information. Of course, they go into more information about how to grow your plants. It's some of the basic stuff that we've already talked about. They go into how they make their maps. You can read that, and they even give you the information about how the copyright stuff works and how you need to print it out. But you can print them out for free at your leisure. They're not, checking on you or anything like that. So take advantage of it. This is free information out there for us, and it's the information that farmers use whenever they're growing their crops. So it only makes sense that it might be important for all of us with gardens that we want to grow some of the same things. It only makes sense to me. So I want to finish out real quick. I don't want to take up too much more of your time, but I just want to show you some examples that I found online of some of the plant seeds and transplants and stuff that I found. These are just online snippets that you can grow from zone 7. Now, again, I'm in zone 7. If you're in a different zone, you just want to search what you can grow in whatever number zone you live in. But this is one of them. I took snippets of a couple of them because some of them look better than others. Some of them are more detailed than others. And then, of course, they have different vegetables and stuff on there. But as you can see, they have it laid out, the months that you can plant that type of vegetable. So say at the top for the beans, they say between April and about mid-October, you should be good on beans. And they have all of the different ones listed. Let's look at this next one. See, similar format to the others, but they give you, like different color schemes. So it lets you know when you can start the seeding, when you can transplant them outdoors, and when you can harvest. And you see there's different times of year. For example, the kale at the top, you have the March through the April time frame, and then you also have September to November. Now, this is based on outdoor low temperatures. Remember that. So if you're doing things to protect your crops, keep them indoors using plastic, using a greenhouse, a lot of this stuff doesn't apply the same way. But if you have outdoor stuff, you have to pay attention to this because this is what's going to determine whether or not those plants can stand up in those temperatures. Now, they do say that some plants can, over time, in a sense, gain a hardiness to some colder climates, but there's no telling how many years it takes of that plant and the seeds of that plant continuing to be grown in that climate before it climatizes and is able to grow in those colder and more harsh climates. Here's another one. I know this one's hard to read, but it has a lot of information on it. If you can find it, you can see that website at the bottom. If you can find it, it has a lot of information on it. And it's different vegetables. Again, this one, I think it's like artichoke and arugula, asparagus. So some of the ones I didn't exactly see on some of the other ones, but a lot of information on there. Again, you find the charts and stuff that work for you, especially based on the plants and vegetables that you plan on having in your garden, because your garden is the most important garden to you. Here's the last one. I like this one. Again, it's based out of San Diego, so the Zone 7 that it's referring to may not exactly be the same Zone 7 that I experienced here in North Carolina. But I like the look of this one. It has good information on there at the top about the average temperatures for the zone, when the average first frost date ranges from, and the last frost date, because you'll learn that frost dates are important for you. Again, that's why the hardiness zone is important, because the frost date is important, because that first frost can kill all of your plants if you're not prepared for it and if they're not hardy enough to withstand it. Different plants have different levels. So if you look on the back of a pack of seeds, or somewhere, wherever it has the information about how to plant that seed. Sometimes you'll see a climate map. Sometimes you'll see just some information telling you what zones and what time frames they can be planted in. But it's up to you to kind of do the research on the seeds that you have, because seeds are different. And not all seeds are equal. That's the best way I can put it. Not all seeds are equal. Some seeds are organic, they're great, they're hardy, they can grow in all different climates and can withstand different diseases. Other seeds, little bit of, out of pH or whatever, and the crop will just die. So not all seeds are equal. So it's up to you to, number one, find your good sources. And then number two, you have to understand if those seeds can really thrive and survive in your climate. The hardiness zone scale and maps will help you determine a lot of that. So hopefully this has been informational for you. Please, please, please reach out to me. Let me know what you think about this format. This is the way I was doing them at first. And it may have just been the content or whatever that I wasn't getting, viewers and feedback. No big deal. I'm not harping on that, but I want to, if this is beneficial and it teaches you anything, if it helps you out at all, I want to continue to be able to weave some of this in with my other videos, because while this is time consuming, I actually enjoy doing this format. It gives me opportunity to sit down, put some things together, put some thoughts together, do some overlays and different stuff like that. So it gives me opportunity to work on a different side of creativity that just pressing record and starting to talk doesn't, give me that same creativity. So again, thank you everybody who's watching. Hopefully you learned something. Hopefully I didn't, it just didn't feel like a waste of time for you. I know I rambled on a little bit long. I'll probably go back and put in some timestamps so maybe you can get straight to some of the points. But thank you for taking the time to watch. Thank you to all the subscribers. Thank you to all the supporters. Salute to everybody who's ever shouted out my video, shared my video, anything that anybody has done to spread word about my video. I appreciate each and every one of you. And until next time, we are out.
Now, what they say in your country, let us be out.